This is the Touareg III, so the all-new generation of the Volkswagen Touareg. And here on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. We'll tell you everything you need to know about exterior, interior, and of course the technology behind this car. What's new? What has changed in comparison to the previous generation? What do you need to know when buying this car, or if you're just interested? Also in different colors, different trims, exterior and interior. Everything now in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! So the new Touareg is characterized by this huge front grille which forms a unit with the headlights together. This one here is, by the way, the R-line for the exterior, so you have a sportier look, also with the lower bumper. Everything is also here colored in the vehicle paint. There are also other trim levels, for example Atmosphere and Elegance, and there's still also a base trim line. The base trim line then also comes with more just black plastic in the lower part if you want a more rugged look, or if you just want to pay less money. It starts also always with LED headlights. Those ones here are the optional matrix LED headlights that you can use the high beam just for certain parts, for example, that you're not blinding others actually. And this LED daytime running strip, you can see it right there. This one will also serve for as the turning indicator light, but the cascading function is only available if you have the matrix LED lights. 4.88 meters or 16 foot is the length of the new generation Touareg. That's 8 centimeters longer than before, just, little gain. If you compare them to the siblings of this vehicle, same platform, the Porsche Cayenne and the Audi Q7, this one here is still the smallest one, but the difference is just minor meanwhile. You also got the R-Line logo here, if you pick that line. The rims start with 18-inch, those ones here are the optional 21-inch. We will also show you different rims later on. The main design line is here placed above the door handles, and what is interesting that in the shoulder line, it gets a little bit wider here, shoulder-wise, and we also have a little curve in there, so it's not all straight from the design line. Besides that, rather upright windows, that has remained the same, so especially from the side profile, it's not the biggest difference, but of course the previous generation had a rather round shape, where we here have some sharper lines. The R-Line here also comes with painted wheel arches in vehicle color. I think just the base model looks more beautiful than it more has this crossover or SUV look. If you want a sportier look, then of course you can get those ones here without the contrasts. It's just still a separate element, as you can see right here. And also this design line continues all the way until the tail lights, which we'll soon take a look at. And we have reached the rear lights right there. They also have this 3D form graphic, come with LED technology, and the overall horizontal layout is just stressed more in the width than with the predecessor generation. Also with the big Touareg letters here. I heard that Chinese customers especially like this style. And of course, China will also be one of the main markets there. Russia as well. For example, it will not come to Northern America. You get the Volkswagen Atlas, the even bigger one inside. But this one is more like a premium strategy SUV. Other than that, on the lower part here with the R-Line, we get the high glossy black as a contrast. We'll soon also take a look at another R-Line vehicle we also have to change a little bit around. And Chassis-wise, by the way, under the skin you can see about 100 kilograms of weight savings. By the way, I really like this color here, this dark blue color. I would probably pick it in that way, maybe a little brighter one, but just as another color to show you. It's hard to show you the whole car here because everything is covered in lights and stuff. This is basically an interior showcase car, but I just want to show you the color just once. And here also with black wheels, so those rims here 21 inch, the biggest one that are available, and surely looks massive in that way, even more contrast. And let me also take time to tell you something about the different suspensions here too. We have a base suspension already with an approaching angle of 31 degrees. Then you have an optional air suspension. You can pump it up then to about 7 centimeters, so even better than for off-road driving. And then optional, there's an anti-tilting function or also active roll stabilization. And we already know the system from the Q7 that the car is not rolling sideways, you know, when you're in corners and stuff, and it's really an active system that works against it. So there's a great German word for it. It's Wankstabilisierung. Doesn't that sound great? It's the German lesson for today. So base suspension, air suspension, and for the air suspension, optional then this active roll stabilization that is interesting technology-wise. And you can also very well see again how the wheel arches are painted in the vehicle color, here white to white. Again, I think it is, you know, somewhat more SUV, you know, more typical, more beautiful when they have a contrast there, but that's totally up to you. What do you think? Second technology highlight, well, we cannot really see it, but it's also something with the rear axle, because you can optionally also get the rear axle steering, and that one then is working across about 5 degrees, so the rear wheels are turning maximum 5 degrees if you compare it to the front wheels, and the limit of that is the speed of 37 kilometers an hour. So above that, both axles steer in the very same direction to give you also a smoother, more, actually a better ride, and also at higher speeds. That's more interesting, of course, at lower speeds, because, for example, the turning circle can be reduced by about 1 meter with this system. So the turning circle of this one then, with the optional all-wheel steering or the rear axle steering, is close to a turning circle of a Volkswagen Golf, just a little bit above that. And also in the Ajlan, you can see the outer part is just beauty exhaust tip, and the inner part then is the real exhaust pipe. And we had a discussion lately about that, because this one is not totally separated. It's like Volvo does. You see, there's a, they have a dissolve from the actual exhaust tip to the fake exhaust tip. And there was a discussion then, is that still super fake or not fake? Well, I just tell you how it is. The central part there, and then the dissolve into the beauty tip. Let's also take a look at this interior, this Elegance interior, more on the bright colors. Also see aluminum here. You can also get matte wood. Then this is also the ambient lighting here. And you have about 30 different colors available then, all over the vehicle. Very neatly done. I also like the style of the bright seats, although you can have 2 different seats, a base seats, and this one here is the comfort seat. The base seat will also be just fine, and also the base seat, at least in Germany, you can also get it with fabric cover. Of course, the more sustainable solution, and you don't need seat cooling, probably even not seat heating then if you pick the fabric seat. Also, by the way, nice accentuation here with the entry, and you can see this is all flat. You see the frame area with the floor is all flat basically, and this ensures also an easy entry into the vehicle, and somehow looks just cool as well. So seating position is, as we know it from a Touareg, very comfortable, very upright. It's a full-grown SUV for sure. We also have a head-up display, by the way. Therefore, it's also a little bit, more voluminous here in the front. We'll soon show you that. But of course, the first view here, then you can also see that dual screen setup. Then again, you don't have to go for it ultimately, but you can. You have the possibility. This one here, also the non-R-line steering wheel. It looks a little bit more simplistic. Then again, this is by the way here for the electronic control. You can adjust in reach and also in height. That's also easily done. But definitely this command driving seating position, that's what it's all about. This one here is not equipped with the panoramic roof, and it still has a lot of headroom. I'm 1.86 or 6'1". If you haven't subscribed yet, do it if you haven't subscribed yet. So plenty of headroom, and you can really very well move in the front as well. So one of the comfort kings for sure. And here we go with the head-up display, optional again, of course, and different stuff can be displayed there, for example, speed and also GPS commands or some infos about the assistance systems. This show car here has also a better lighting, a more soft lighting for the interior that you can very well see the cockpit overview. Here also with the matte aluminum or brushed aluminum style we have here, again featuring this front grille style too in the form. Nice, you can see the ambient light here. I really like that how they've done it. Really, really nice. And just from the infotainment, again, you can use one finger to scroll inside those and two finger then to swipe left and right. More in the lower part, by the way, you also have those those holes where you can put stuff in. So there's also this QI symbol, so for the inductive charging, for example. And there's one more USB slot in the front for connecting your smartphone. One 12-volt power supply. Here again, glossy black. This is the automatic shifting lever. You put it backwards to put in a gear, or in the front and with putting your left thumb into for the reverse gear. Automatic handbrake. Then we also have adaptive cup holders. They are actually quite big, so even bigger drinks will easily fit in there. And this massive armrest, wow, also quite fixedly attached. And another USB port right there. And this is, by the way, the car key. It's super new car key. We haven't seen it at Volkswagen yet. It's pretty slim and elegant. And this is also for the independent heating system, which you can also optionally get. On the left side, you start with still analog instruments, if you like. Optional then, the 12-inch digital instruments. You can also change the view, for example, to have a bigger GPS view there. So you're somewhat flexible then in what you want to see. There's also the night vision available. You can see it right here. It can help actually, there, for example, sometimes people are also highlighted. They warn you at night for this night vision. So it can be a helpful feature if you're often driving at night. It's interesting how it realizes, which objects are actually people. It's pretty interesting. Then if we move on over to the right side, with the base infotainment system, you start with 9.2 inch. We do not see that here. And then you have still separate climate knobs. Probably I would stay with that one. The maximum available then is the next step. This one is 15 inch then, optional. And there you have, for example, a climate function in the lower area. You can always access it here. So for an infotainment climate function, it's still quite okay because you can easily reach and touch it. Still, while driving, a knob is safer. But that way, you can also control it like this. It's, again, for a software solution, very easy to use. Here, for example, also with the heated seats or also the cooled seats when you stick to the surface then. And then you can access more right there. We can easily change the language, for example. That also speaks for the system. I think a very intuitive one. I haven't seen that system before, and just in a few seconds I was able to change the language, and I think that really speaks for it. You have a base main menu right there. You can pull it down and up like this. Let's take a look at the GPS. Really big, and wow. This is full HD, by the way, the screen, and look how responsive, how fast it is. I really like that. And of course, you can individualize everything. You can just put a picture of your cat here, for example. I'll probably do that. Then telephone, you can, I don't know those people. Those are probably just models. You can connect it with Bluetooth, but also the app connect is available. Then you plug in your smartphone and then you have the smartphone mirroring. And you can access the camera system either by putting in the reverse gear or pressing P on the left top. Then you can see you have this fake drone view from above. You can also see the tripod is being hidden right there. Or also the normal cameras. This is the front camera, for example. You can also switch those cameras around here. This is a great view, actually. Wow. So that must be another front camera facing further down. so you can really see that you don't damage anything from the car. You can also make it a little bit wider, or then again this view here, there's also this 360 view available. That is of course really impressive. We've seen it with the all new Audi big MLB cars, for example. Then you can really protect those 21-inch rims. And like with the smartphone, you also have this central home button in the lower part, and you can switch the views right there. Also, like this. Or when you see the symbol here, then you can also use the swipe function, this gesture control. But I'm not a fan of it still. Sometimes it's working, sometimes not. A lot to control. You can individualize then what is actually shown right there in the home screen. I wonder what... There it is. So you see, with one finger you control here, then with two fingers or with a gesture you can then use two fingers like this, then you can change the home screen. So what they have kept for a real button is this one here. It also has a nice clicking sound, because customers still wanted to change the volume, or had at least the possibility to do it with a real knob or wheel. Then this one is here for the different driving modes. You can just switch it like this. We also know that from other vehicles. So they have this one, for example, is the off-road mode, where the air suspension could also be raised, and also the electronic stability control is adjusted. And next to that, this is then if you just want to control singularly how high you want to have the air suspension, or maybe lower. And by the way, over a speed of 120 kilometers an hour, it automatically goes down the air suspension to about 2.5 until 3.5 centimeters. Look at the interior ambient lighting also from the inside of the rear door. Very beautifully done. And before I open the door completely, let me also show you here this just the manual shade for the kids, for example, in the rear. Also an easy installation. Then let's get inside. Of course, fairly easy entry here. A lot of room we have left. So this is also now in a new generation. We have gained legroom. So plenty of legroom left, even if I'm sitting in the front. The car is a little bit longer now. Also headroom, no problem. So a lot of room that is being offered. And you sit so much more comfortable in normal sedans here in those big SUVs. So even for chauffeur services, I would probably take this one. Then the rear bench here can be put forward and backward. It's about 16 centimeters difference. You can see it right here. Wow. So you can increase the luggage compartment or increase the legroom. That's possible. And on your side, you can also see this lever there. We also have some cables there for those special lights that won't be there in the real car, by the way. So, and if I control that one, I can control the angle. Let's see. This is the maximum. Well, I don't want to sit like this, but I maybe want to sit like this, for example. And or maybe leaning back all the way. This is also possible if you want to maybe sleep. And yeah, Michelle is helping me with that one. You can also then fold it completely, and then it fixedly attaches right there. So that's safe then. Transition to the trunk area. And also what we have is the middle armrest with cup holders here inside. And we can also put just this seat down. So you can really use that in a versatile way. Let's see if this one also... No, this one's actually like this. So there's no clicking effect, just on the top part. So super comfortable here. Well, if you have to put that up, your cameraman needs to help you. Use the lever first and then pull it back. That can be a little bit complicated. You always need to have two hands for that. And last but not least, well, the middle tunnel is still big, of course, because of the all-wheel drive system. But then optional, you can have this 4-zone AC, also with seat heating for the rear seats, if you like. And below that, the charging area with 2 more USB slots, a real power plug if you want to charge your laptop, for example, nice, and 12-volt power supply. And this is one of the rare cars where I can also seat in the middle part of the rear seats. Well, not exactly with the legs because of the middle tunnel, but you can see it right here. I have to put my feet right and left next to it. But headroom-wise, it's actually no problem, even here in the middle part for me. And finally, the trunk area is electric tailgate here, 810 liters. Is the setup without flipping the seats. and you can also move them forward as I've shown you. First of all, let's look underneath here. You can also put a spare tire then if you want that set up. Other than that, square dimensions. This cover here is railed and also raises with the electric tailgate. That's a clean solution for sure. You can also flip the seats from here. That's nice. And also a difference, I can also show it on the different side, and also difference to the Audi, for example, which as far as I remember, that was not possible. So, and then we go around, and also, this is the only thing you have to do, put them a little bit lower, and there you go then with the maximum setup. That's actually quite nice. If you have the air suspension, you can also lower the car a little bit to, access it a little bit easier. It's not the biggest difference though. And then next to it, this one here is for the tow bar. So 3.5 tons is the maximum towing capacity still. And if I press this one here then, top part, you can see it electrically releases. Over 60% take rate, so 2/3 of Touareg customers will go for that one then, probably again. Electric supply is on the right side. This one is not so well clean, but I mean, it's for towing, yeah? Nothing for something else. And just press it once more and then it disappears. So pretty clean solution for sure. There we go. Let's get inside the R-Line, and what I want to show you here is also, first of all, the soft close. There we go. That's done by the vehicle. And also when you stay at the lower area, you see for off-road driving, or also when it's getting wet outside, how far down this lip is. And you can see it on the other side. It's closing right here. So that promises that all of this area here will never get dirty. I hope it works that way. We will surely be able to test it at a later stage. Then let's move on up. Inside of the doors here in the R-Line, also soft materials. Just the middle part here is hard and the top part here is softened then again just a little bit. Then you have this structured silver decor element and a lot of glossy black right there. Then same here also, the structured silver part. Then you have this soft rubber on top here with contrast stitches. R-Line steering wheel, little flat bottom. Then those little sportier seats, mainly a visual part in the dual color tone. Again, the optional animal skin full equipment, which you can save money if you don't pick them. You can even adjust the head restraint here, forward and backward, for example, by pressing this knob, R-Line logo. And overall, you see, a more dark color theme, definitely. Here we go. And well, I mean, other than that, it's not too much different. So those different lines you have, both for exterior and interior, are mostly really about the different design schemes. And which one do you like best, actually, from the interior? To me, it would definitely be the matte wood decor element, because this one here, I mean, it looks a little bit sportier, but it also looks somewhat cheaper, I have to say. And the R-Line interior overview, again, this V-shape we also see at the very front grille of the car, again with a silver decor element, more subtle again, a lot more piano black, which again is collecting fingerprints or also scratches. If you keep it clean with a microfiber towel, then it still looks great. So another color right here, this I would say call it cream color. And this is also the so-called atmosphere trim. So a little bit different, but Elegance and Atmosphere basically look the same on the outside, not so much difference. Of course, just to give you some more variation, also in contrast to the R trim. I think in both trims it looks kind of sportier. What do you think? Those ones are by 20-inch rims, perfectly fine. You don't need 21-inch. Also some more tire left, a little bit more comfort and also less danger of damaging them. Here we also have chrome accentuations in the lower part. This one then is for the Elegance and the Atmosphere trim, different to the R design trim. Here you can also see a little bit more of those slightly bending design line curve at the rear. And finally, this one here is also powered, so you can see the LED signature for the tail lights. And finally, in the lower area, again, a chrome strip. So if you want more chrome, it would be Elegance or Atmosphere. But again, my tip is always the best choice for you price performance wise. And that is still, of course, then the base model. What else in the interior? Well, let me open you the door, because this one here is an atmosphere interior trim as well. Oh, Michel has already opened the door himself. Wow. Here you can see, for example, the use of matte wood. I really like that. Gives a natural feeling. So I think the most classy design there, for sure. Also with purple ambient lighting, but as I said earlier, you can pick any color, by the way. And you can see this is also full animal skin pack in this brown color tone. And we also have the panoramic roof right there. And well, that reduces the headroom, especially to the side. So I lose headroom actually a lot, but it goes all the way over the car. So you leave a lot of light inside. Here again, the headroom I've left. It's still okay for my size, of course. And even if you're a little bit taller, wow, that is really huge. Let's see if we can also open it. Yeah, here we go. It's also powered enough. And then the artificial lights come inside here. So you almost have an SUV convertible by this. Wow, this really gives a lot of light. We also check the rear headroom. So I have the seat put far back, by the way. It's not with the, if you wonder about the different legroom, you know. So this is okay to the glass, but then to the side again, this is the problem actually. It's still okay for the size, but again, if you're driving with a couple of Michael Jordans in the rear, then probably leave out the panoramic roof. So engine-wise, this one is the 3-liter V6 TDI, either with 231 horsepower or with 286 horsepower. Then there will later be a 4-liter V8 TDI with 421 horsepower, and also a 3-liter V6 turbo petrol engine with 340 horsepower. Also, starting in China, maybe later also in other areas, a 2-liter TSI combined with a plug-in hybrid with 367 horsepower. We expect that one here in Europe also in 2019, but it's not clear yet if the hybrid will be combined with 2-liter or with a 3-liter engine. The permanent all-wheel drive, by the way, has a standard setup with 60% torque rear, 40 in the front, and then it's also a little bit variable depending on the off-road conditions, for example, but still a real off-road drivetrain. And what's also interesting, a 48-volt board net because of all the electronic systems we have available, extensive choice of driver assistance systems, everything you could possibly imagine. Not fully autonomous driving yet, but of course regulations have to catch up in that respect. And also stuff like the active roll stabilization, that one will also be covered then by the 48-volt board. But you just need more power than electronic-wise to cover all of those electronic helper systems. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Volkswagen Touareg. From the exterior, surely a sharper design, and it stands also wider on the road. It has gained a little bit in the size. Still, if you go for the optional technology packages, you can drive it easier, especially with the rear axle steering. That makes it actually maneuverable as a normal compact SUV. So that's a big advantage, and probably also the most important of those very expensive options. So a base price will be at about just below 60,000, for example, taking German reference prices. And when you spec it really in a high way with big engine and big trim level, you'll probably score something about 85. And this is, of course, not cheap at all. But if you compare the other big premium SUVs, this one here is still then about 5,000-6,000 below the other prices. And I mean, if you take a look also at the Volkswagen Group internal siblings, the Porsche Cayenne or the Audi Q7, this is by no means an inferior car to those. Also from the interior build quality, that is really on top notch. You just pay less money. And I think, the Q7 is a little bit larger, has the optional seat package there available as well. The Cayenne, the sporty focus. And this one then basically the base trim for this big Volkswagen AG SUVs in the premium segment. But I think overall, surely one of the best in the competition. Also with the new interior design, I think it looks really clean and nice. You are also just fine with the base instruments and with the smaller infotainment screen. So a hot tip from me, if you really want to keep the normal climate controls, then it can really make sense not to go for the biggest spec. And of course, the base trim seats, they are also just fine in the seating comfort. And what they're still missing are more alternatives for the animal skin packages, because they are still in the past operating in this respect. Plug-in hybrid will also come to China first, as I said, so we expect news there soon, which plug-in hybrid will, for example, also come to Europe. We'll definitely keep you updated with that too. So what's your opinion on the new Touareg? Tell us in the comments, and also tune in next time. We're also awaiting another episode of the Touareg very soon.